everyone. I'm Jennifer Morgan, Director of Programming for ATX TV Festival, and we are so glad to have you joining us for Season 10. I'm really excited to be able to introduce this next panel with the cast, creatives, and real-life inspiration behind one of my favorite series from the last year, Home Before Dark. On its surface, the show is a mystery, but just below that are big ideas about community, family, story, truth, and forgiveness. In addition to a truly stellar cast, smart writing, and beautiful directing, there's a kindness and warmth to it that feels incredibly rare, and we're thrilled to be able to partner with our friends at Apple TV to share this inside look at the series. If you're watching this panel and haven't seen the show yet, or just want a good old-fashioned rewatch, you can check out all of Season 1 and the premiere of Season 2 in our VOD library right after you're done here. But don't go anywhere yet, because we have a fantastic conversation coming up. And one final reminder, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at ATX Festival throughout the week and use hashtag TV for all to let us know which panels and series you're loving. We would love to talk about TV with you. It's literally all we do. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful moderator, Entertainment Weekly's Samantha Highfield, to kick us off.
Hi, Sam.
Hello. Thanks, Jennifer. All right. As she mentioned, we are here to talk all things Home Before Dark here at ATX Television Festival. I'm going to bring out our panelists so that I'm not talking to myself. We're going to kick things off with executive producer Dana Fox.
Hi, Sam.
Hello.
So good
You too. All right, we've got the woman who plays Hildy Lisco herself, Brooklyn Prince. Applause,
Hey,
applause.
Hey,
Hello.
Hi.
All right, she plays Bridget Jensen, Abby Miller.
Woohoo! Bridget. Hi.
We're building out the family here.
It's amazing.
All right, she plays Deputy, or is it Sheriff, Trip Johnson, Aziza Scott.
Hey. How y'all doing?
And we've got the real life inspiration for the series, Hildy Leshak.
Yes.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome. Okay, I want to start at the beginning because I feel like, especially in today's television landscape, it's really rare to find an original story, right? We live in a world of reboots and revivals. And not only is this an original story, but it's obviously based on a true story. So Dana, why don't you kind of give us the origin story of like, how did you find Hildy's story?
I have to give all props to our incredible producer, Joy Gorman, who was at this thing called, I think, the Tribeca Disruptor Awards. Is that right, Hildy?
Yeah.
And she was there watching all these like incredible adults get up and get all these accolades for being amazing and for being change makers and causing trouble, good trouble, as John Lewis says. And up comes this little girl. You were little then. And it was like, I sort of imagined it in my head that Hildy had to like adjust the mic to go way down to her face, but that's just in my head. I wasn't actually there. And Joy listened to Hildy talk and was like, this girl is extraordinary. She is so poised. She cares about these incredibly important things at such a young age. Like, how did that happen? How did that develop inside her? And she started talking to the people next to her who turned out to be Hildy's parents, Matt and Bridget, the real Matt and Bridget. And Joy sort of jokingly said, hey, can you come to my house and help me raise my child? Because I have a daughter and I think you should raise her because Hildy's amazing. So they got to talking and they really enjoyed each other. And then I think a lot of people understood that Hildy's story was so interesting. And so there were a lot of people kind of looking to try to get her life rights to do this story. And, it was very competitive and there were all these really amazing other producers besides Joy. And ultimately Hildy and her parents decided to go with Joy. And I was so excited for Joy because she's just a good friend of mine. And I was like, it's amazing. And then when I finally met the Leshak family, I said, why did you choose Joy? Why did you go with her? And they said, it's because Joy was the only person who directly asked Hildy questions. Everybody else just like talked over her head, talked to her parents only, all that stuff. And Joy just talked to only Hildy the entire time. And so Hildy's parents just, I guess, loved that. And Hildy, I mean, you should speak for yourself because I wasn't there, but.
I had like a lot of these calls after I broke the story of the murder, and they were all like really nice, great people, but they would all be like pitching this show about empowering young women, and they would just talk over me and my dad. which I found was like really strange. But then when I got on the phone with Joy, she would just, she was like asking me questions. She was treating me like a normal person, which seems like the minimum, but a lot of people just don't because of my age. And I knew immediately that I wanted to go with her.
So that's how it happened on that end. And then Joy came to me, and I pretty much only had been writing movies at that point. And, she said, I finally found the TV show that I think that you're going to want to do. You're going to love this story. And, she sort of told me the story of Hildy, and I read some articles, and I was, oh my God, that's incredible. But I couldn't like get it in my head. Like, I was like, what does it feel like? And for me, TV is so much about a feeling, because that's the way as a viewer, I love movies and television. Like, I'm obsessed, and I always try to keep myself a viewer when I'm trying to make things. So I was like, what do I want to feel when I sit down to watch this thing? And I wanted to feel something that I had never seen a little girl starring in. So I was like, oh, this is going to be weird, but here's what I want to do. And, I was at the time listening to a lot of like really like crazy true crime podcasts. I had just gotten really into Serial, and I was like obsessed with how bingey it was. And I was kind of like, I kind of wanted to be like Serial. And everyone was like, with a little girl? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, I'm going to get there. Hold on. Give me like another 6 months to a year. And this idea is totally going to happen. So Joy and I just kept talking about it. And, we finally, Joy had said to me, she had just started working on 13 Reasons Why, and no one had seen it yet. She had it in her Pix account. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I got to watch a little bit of it a little early. But she was like, just take a look at this. So I looked at it. I was watching it with her, and I was like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, this is like my so-called life meets Serial. Like, I sort of get what Brian Yorkey was trying to do there, and I loved it, and I love Brian Yorkey. So I was like, okay, I see. Okay, there is a model for this. And then because I'm a movie person, I just kept calling it the movie. And I was like, okay, so what I want the movie to be like is, I want it to be like all those movies I watched when I was little, because it's a movie. And so it was all about like Close Encounters, E.T., The Goonies, Stand By Me, all those films that I watched as a kid. And again, I was like, oh no, there's no little girls starring in any of those. And so I was like, damn it. All right, I'm so close. And I still couldn't quite do it. And then finally Joy was like, we're going to just do it. And it's going to be hard because no one's done it. So it will be hard. And everybody will say, it's not going to work. Who is it for? It can't be, it's going to fall in between all the chairs because it's not going to be for anybody. And we just kind of kept saying like, all right, let's go for it. And then we met Dara, who's amazing. And she hooked up with us, and she has a lot of great experience with mystery shows. And so she was so amazing for me to kind of learn from her that aspect of it, because I hadn't really done the sort of mystery element of it before. And it just was like, it was just amazing. And then it was like, okay, cool. Now that we wrote this insane thing, we need a director. And John Chu, who's incredible, who we're all obsessed with, In the Heights, woot woot, June 11th. Right after you watch our show on June 11th, definitely pop over In the Heights. Yeah, but you can do us first and then him. Any order you want. It's all fair. But you have to watch both of them on that day. You probably have to take off work. Don't worry about it. So we found John Chu, and I was meeting up with him, and I was like, okay, this is what I wanted to feel like. And he read the script and was like, oh, it's like an Amblin movie. Like, I got it. I totally understand what you're trying to do here. It's like the movies that I used to fall in love with, except it stars a little girl. And there's this central relationship of this father-daughter thing that I don't think I've ever seen before. And so he had just had a baby girl, and we were like, yes, like we got him. So he was like, oh, I totally want to do this. And then it was just, we were off to the races. So that was the whole origin story of the show.
Yeah. Well, Brooklyn, I'm so interested for you because obviously you're coming in. So do you remember your first meeting with Hildy? Like, did you guys sit down and chat?
So I had already booked the part, and I had looked up so much about her. I was just like watching YouTube video after YouTube video. Like, I was kind of a stalker. Sorry, TMI. But the first time I met Hildy, I was really nervous. I was like, I want her to like me, and I want to like her. I was like so nervous. I was like, if she doesn't like me, I was like, then I'm going to be really disappointed because I'm going to be playing her. And I met her, and she was like, hi, I'm Hildy. And I'm like, hi, I'm Brooklyn. And it was just like the instant click. And I just remember talking to her, and I was noting things in my brain, and I was just kind of watching her, and now we have a great relationship. I mean, we text and we talk. We went to like Tombstone, Arizona together. But I just remember like saying to my mom, I was like, if like she doesn't like me, then I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I hope I made you proud, Hildy.
Oh my gosh, you made me like beyond proud.
Oh.
I remember I was nervous meeting you too, because I really like did not know what to expect. And then I remember I saw you, I think it was in like a hotel lobby or something, and
Yeah.
you're just like, Hildy, and then like you ran to me and we hugged, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be fine. And we just like automatically clicked, and we have such a great relationship now. She's like a sister to me. And yeah, we hang out and we call and we text. And I'm so happy to have this opportunity to meet like such an amazing cast and like an amazing family here. But yeah, meeting you was like the coolest experience ever, but I was also really nervous.
Well, and I think the other thing that was really important to all of us, to like making the show, is that, you know, we knew we really wanted to say something positive in the world, and it was sort of a dark time. I'm not sure if anybody remembers it, but I was like, anybody want to take some antidepressant pills, because stuff is going really off the rails here. Like, it was just a really awful dark time, and I'm a positive person who like looks for light in the world, and Hildy as a real person is nothing if not like sort of a semi-annoying flashlight. Like, people are always like, please enough with the, it's like a Klieg light, but in the shape of a flashlight. And everybody's like, oh God, please don't with the truth. Oh, the truth is so exhausting. But I just loved that, you know, Hildy really wanted to like shine her truth light on things. And especially at a time where the world is trying to tell you that there's no way to know what is or isn't true. That felt really important to us. And, you know, we just really wanted to put a lot of really good examples of women out into the world. I mean, of parents, of a lot of things, but specifically of women, because, you know, it got to be a pretty misogynistic and scary time. And so I felt like it was really important that we see good female role models as parents. You know, with Aziza and Trip, it was really important to me that we see a Black woman who gets some version of power. And no, it's not easy. It's awful. You know, there's like, it's a real problem, but you have to see it, because if you don't see those things, people will never believe that those things can always eventually happen. You can never believe a little girl can solve a crime until you like see a little girl solve a crime. And then it kind of becomes like, oh yeah, of course little girls can do that, you know? And I remember when my mom told me a story about my brother, because my brother was older, but I was younger and more precocious and sort of spastic. As you can imagine, a lot of talking happened. And so I was like sort of a spazzy little talky small person. And my brother, when we were really little, apparently after like 3 or 4 years of like having me in the family, my brother finally said to my mom, I'm starting to think maybe little boys can do anything little girls can do. And I just thought like how funny that for him it was that reversal, you know? And I was like, what if we just like reverse it for this show? What if it's like, you know what, little boys can do whatever this little girl can do. Like, you should aspire to be like this little girl. And it felt important to have that access character for not only women, but also young women. But then beyond that, it was actually really important to me that men identify with Hildy and boys identify with Hildy, that when they watch it, they insert themselves, like she's the access character, they insert themselves into Hildy's brain and her experience, and they walk in her shoes. Because, you know, I grew up my whole life, I'm sure all you guys did, watching movies where I was asked to insert myself into young boys or old white guys' shoes. And I was like happy to do it. Like, who doesn't love Harrison Ford? Like, let me get in there. But it's just like, you know, I want it. But I think there's something that women learn how to empathize because they are constantly asked to do that. They're constantly asked to sort of stand in somebody else's shoes. And I was like, maybe men could learn more empathy if we ever asked them to stand in our shoes for 5 seconds, because their high heels, they hurt. It's really unpleasant. So anyway, just, you know, me, feminist rant, just a little sidebar feminist rant.
I love it. Well, I do want to get into obviously some of those other female characters. Abby, for you, like, did you meet Hildy's real mom, like real Brit? It's like a sort of leeway of obviously you're playing a real person, but you're not playing a famous person. But what was that experience like?
I actually met Matt first with Hildy when we first arrived in Vancouver to shoot the pilot. or the series. And Matt, I actually keep in touch with Matt, and I think I actually have Bridget's number too. But we've gone to dinner. Actually, my husband and I went to dinner with Matt and Bridget. Did you know that we went to dinner with them, Hildy? I don't know if you
didn't.
went to Vancouver, and it was awesome. I mean, I really admire Bridget so much because Matt always says this about her, but she is truly the like rock. And I'm sure you can speak to this, Hildy, but like she keeps it together. She keeps this like the whole team, the machine working. And I mean, right off the bat, got that from her. We've talked on the phone numerous times, and before I started shooting and throughout season 1, we talked a lot. But she's incredible. I mean, she's a hero to me. She had 4 kids. I have 2, and I mean, and I also just have to speak to, because I know season 1 for those of you that are going to watch it, one of the big critiques was about the parenting style of these characters. And I have to say, like, I have used Matt and Bridget, the real Matt and Bridget, and the fictitious character was Matt and Bridget as examples for my parenting, because I do think that there is something to the way that you let a child like run free, and the adventure and the sense of play that can happen. We live in this like canyon, and my kid is a canyon kid. Like, he plays in the dirt and he runs around and he plays with his neighbors, and you know, he can ride his bike down to like his really dear friend Zoe's house and play. And I think that there's something to that, like that sense of freedom, and that we kind of have gotten away from, I think, as we've gotten older, or times have changed. And that's one of the qualities that I absolutely love. And I feel like that's very, very much a real Bridget and Matt. Like, I will never forget watching videos of Hildy on YouTube running around chasing after a drug dealer. It's out there. And
that was, by the way, the only one that freaked me out. Like, there's all these other videos where it's like kind of borderline, and I'm like, you go, girl. And then that one, I was like, oh my God, she's in danger.
Like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, we are doing the softest version of Matt and Hildy. Like, it could be so much crazier, because Hildy is relentless and like she's ferocious. I'm such a fan of you, Hildy, and like of your just desire to do the right thing like all the time, and that you're relentless, like you are.
Thank you.
On my mind. And yeah, I think that we're doing a little bit more of a tamer version, and it's still pretty bonkers at times. So
yeah,
I know I kind of went off on a tangent, but I'm a big fan of Matt and Hildy, and Bridget, of course.
I remember when I was like chasing down like the drug dealer, I remember like my mom saw that video and she was just like, what? Like, you did what? Like, she was just a little bit weirded out by it. Yeah, that was a weird experience.
You were really young too, right? Like, how old were you when you did that?
I want to say I was like 9, because I was I was 9 because I was hanging out with my friends at a park, and then like my one friend was telling me, oh, like that guy offered my little sister like a bunch of weed or something. So I went up to him and I was like, are you like selling like middle schoolers weed? And he's like, I think he said F off, and then he like ran away.
Oh no.
And I chased after him, and then I chased after him.
Yeah.
And filmed it.
She's got to get the story. She's got to get the story.
Yeah, I filmed it. And I was like really out of shape too. So I was like really out of breath in the video.
Oh, that's incredible. Oh my gosh. When I was 9, I feel like I barely knew math. Like,
yeah.
It's incredible.
I still barely know math.
I know. I was about to say, I haven't gotten much better at math. But okay, Aziza, I want to talk about, because with Trip, you got to play, especially in season 1, outside of Hildy's parents, like one of the only adults who really took her seriously.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you and Brooklyn to kind of like establish that dynamic? Because that's one of my favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, well, when I first read the script, I thought it was fantastic. I was like, wait a minute. An 8-year-old girl solving a murder? I was like, okay. And then there was a particular part that I read in the script where Trip says, I don't like when they pat me on the head either. I was like, yes, underdog. So I fell in love with Trip, and I was like, to team up with a girl who's solving murders, it's gonna be fantastic. So when I actually met Brooklyn, I was nervous because I was like, she's a kid. What if she doesn't like me? What if we don't have any chemistry? And I remember walking into the room and you looked at me, Brooklyn, and you gave me the biggest hug. And I was like, oh, I love her already. So I knew it was going to be great chemistry between us. And yeah, it's been a journey. I remember when I booked the role, I was nervous because I'm like, I don't really know how to be a cop. I'm actually a cop. So I decided to go down to the police station before I flew out to Vancouver to spend a day with them. So I went down there. I'm like, yeah, can I follow you guys or chat with you? Can I spend the day with you? I'm playing a cop on TV and I just kind of don't know what to do. And they allowed me to, and they kind of talked to me about their different mannerisms and the day-to-day work out there. So it gave me a lot of confidence when I did get to Vancouver and then when we did start to shoot. So it's been a fun journey.
And I have to say, when I, during the casting process, the role of Trip was like a really dead serious, like never cracks a joke, never anything part originally. And then Aziza came in and like, I fell so in love with her that I was like, and commence rewriting this character for Aziza. Like, I was like, you should offer her the job, but also I have a lot of work to do because I'm going to just change this and make this into a completely different part because you were so like, you brought this warmth and this humor to it. And the other thing that I realized that you brought to it that was so strange and important was that you did this really important thing, which was you made fun of Hildy. You were like, you gotta like chill out, dude. Like, and it wasn't that you didn't take her seriously. It was almost that you took her so seriously that you teased her like you would an adult. And that was a really very specific thing that I had never thought of and didn't realize how important it was until I saw you do it. Because I was like, oh, Aziza is the audience. Like the audience is going to come into this with all this sense of like, who is this girl? Like she's taking herself way too seriously. Like I got to roll my eyes at her. So if we do that first, then they won't do it. If we make fun of her, then the audience won't make fun of her because the audience will be like, oh, they know this is insane. Like they know that this little girl is nuts and that she's like just a total ball buster and like, crazy. And so that became a really important part of it. And I think with all of the women here and including Kylie, who's not here, I'm a big believer in rewriting the part to fit a really good actor. I think it's so important, especially in television, because it's not like an affair, it's a marriage. Like you're like, we're going to become like a family and we're going to be together all the time. And by the way, we had the quarantine in the middle of this. So we really became a family. It was like a shut-in family. and so it's like, so we became a Zoom family or whatever. And you guys all had that great experience in Vancouver together. But you have to make sure that the people are really the right people for the show, not that you're trying to jam a person into a part. And because you can't sustain that, like that can't go on indefinitely. It just will stop at a certain point. So I was just like so inspired by all these women and by all the people on our show. You guys know Sturgis and Michael Weston and just knowing that they were going to bring this like incredible thing that was theirs alone, not necessarily was what I had hoped the part would be, but rather what they bring to the table. I was like, let's write into that. Like, let's do who they are, not who we want them to be. And I think it like makes the show feel really real because, everybody is a great actor and can deliver. Thank God you guys are incredible. Oh my gosh. When you type stuff, usually as a writer, you're like, who knows? Like maybe they'll be able to say these words, maybe not. But you guys always, I know that you're going to crush it and make it so much better than it is on the page. So it's such a joy and honor to write for you all. So anyway, I hope it makes the show feel really like real and grounded because it's like, it's these people and the boys who aren't here and Kylie.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of the parts, both, I think there's a chemistry within like the town, there's a chemistry within the family, there's a chemistry within Hildy and her adorable besties who are like my favorite thing in the world. But I mean, talking about, Dana, I think I've said this to you, especially in the first season, I like the family scenes, anytime we're like around the kitchen island, I love it. It's some of my favorite, specifically the island. I don't know why, but I think it's so enjoyable. But for like Brooklyn and Abby, like, did you all, in terms of establishing a family dynamic, like, did you all do anything to like bond in the beginning?
No.
They were too bonded before they stepped on set. You guys were such love boats. You guys were so in love with each other. It was like ridiculous.
You go first, Phoebes, and then I'll. No.
When the family, because I don't know who was casted first, but
it was you, honey. Because we were like, we can't find her. We don't have a show, so it was you. We were like, you.
So they were building, there was bits and pieces of the family, and I went to chemistry read, so I was like meeting different members of the family, and I think like first it was Jim, and I was testing with all these dads, and like I had different chemistries with them, but it wasn't the chemistry I had when Jim walked in the room. I was like, we are best friends, and like he was like, yes we are, and then I did a chemistry read with Kylie, and then once the family all went together, we just all, it was like a love like square, I don't know what shape it is, but like it was just like
love trapezoid.
It just felt like natural. And then our first family scene we did, we felt the chemistry and we felt the characters, and with being the characters, the family dynamic just went into like one big circle, and it was honestly the best.
I think it was that we were all kind of game to play. Like we were all showed up. Everybody was very open. I think I was the last one cast, besides obviously Mila, who we got last, who's our little Ginny. She's incredible. But I think I met Jim 10 minutes before we did the table read. And I just remember thinking, we got to bring the chemistry. You know, if I don't make them laugh, them, meaning the 100 people that were in the room with, and make Jim laugh, then I'm in trouble. And fortunately we were making each other laugh. And now he's BB's best friend, and he's a dear, dear friend. We had a baby about the same time during COVID, and we got really close. And I'm very grateful for that we just had it. Like we didn't have to do anything because it was there, and we got in the room, and it was really just like, for me, it was like, how do we make this as fun? And like a lot of movements, like felt like a piece of theater. The table, the kitchen, like island scenes feel like a piece of theater for me always. It's like, how can we be just in motion as a family would, you know, when you're starting your day or ending your day. And I think we just really all of us came open and ready to play. So
those kitchen island scenes also take as long to shoot as it takes to make a Broadway play. It's like each kitchen island scene is like 12 years long. The editors do not love the kitchen island scenes because they're like, oh shit, here it comes. Like, whew, I'll talk to you in 3 days when I finish editing this scene. Because for us, it's really important, as Abby's saying, that there's movement, that it feels real. Like in my kitchen, I have 3 kids. Like literally, I've never sat. A person sits. Like, what is that? Who sits? Like, I'm just like cruising around and everything, and I'm like coffee and food and this and that, and I'm already on the thing, and I gotta check the phone because I gotta do the other thing, and I gotta get to the blah blah blah. And that's what real families, I think, feel like. And so it was so important to us. It's not super easy to shoot, but it was very important to us to have it feel like, wow, it really feels. And also on the point of Abby, Abby knows this, but like I've been so in love with her since the second she came in, and you had just had a baby a hot minute before. You had just had your beautiful son. And I remember there was like talk of like pumping or something. And I was like, this is gonna be a pump zone. Like we're all pumping all the time. Cause like I had to have 3 babies while I made movies and television. And it's like, I think it's really important as, you know, a leader that I show people that women are never going to be, that is never going to be a barrier to entry. If you work with me, that is going to be a positive. We are going to make it awesome. We're going to make it a family. I mean, for myself personally, I was tits out all the time. I was like, if my tit wasn't out in front of a Teamster, I was like, what am I doing wrong? So it's just like, you got to normalize it, because if you don't, then women don't do the jobs because they say, I can't do the job because I have a kid, and that can't be. So we have to start changing that. And that was something I felt really excited that we got a chance to do, Abby. But additionally, I just can tell you that like, I was so madly in love with Abby from the moment I saw her, that I used to just like, I had just her audition that was just on my like computer, like my screen. I was just like double click every now and again, just like watch her audition piece and then be like, okay, I gotta go back to work. And then I would just like double click and just watch her. And like, she was so incredible and just game for it all and made me, I mean, you know, Abby, you know, you kill me. So I just felt, I was like, oh my God, I hit the lottery with like every single person in the show. I was like,
I feel like, I know that we don't have a ton of time, but just like a quick Dana story.
Yeah.
I remember being in the audition room for the first callback when I met John, Chu, and Joy was there and stuff. And there's a bunch of women in the room, and Dana comes out and she just gives the most amazing speech to all of us about how she just loves us. She loves the tapes, that we should feel so like we're welcomed in this room. We should feel safe. And it was like one of those moments where I remember just thinking to myself, gosh, whoever gets this part is going to be so lucky to have Dana Fox as their showrunner, because she cares, like she truly cares about people. And she made all of us feel like we all breathed a sigh of relief because we knew that we were taken care of. Like,
Yeah.
when do you get that with your showrunners? Like,
well, and it killed me because when people come in for a callback, you have a bunch of women sitting in a waiting room, and by definition, you know that every single one of them besides one of them is not getting this part and is going to feel sad and disappointed. And, you know, for me, at least in the way I work, like I get people in my head that if I see you and I love you, but I can't fit you in there, I'm like, I got that movie or I've got this next show or whatever. So I always want to tell actors, like, don't be bummed out if you don't get the part, like you like, just do your best. And like, I'll find you in my head someday. And I did, by the way, it's a total spoiler alert, but there was someone I found for season 2 that I have been trying to cast for like 7 years. I saw this guy and I was like, I'm casting you one day. It's going to be amazing. And then it was like, every time I would try, he would like be on another thing, or I couldn't get him the part or whatever. And then I was like, I got you. So it's like, I'm also Brooklyn, a creepy stalker. So it's good.
I mean, Dana has been such a good, like, she's a role model to me, and I think young girls need role models. And you know, I just remember my mom being like, wow. And I'm like, what? She's like, Dana is a super mom. Like, I was like, yes, she is. Because like, that's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to have family and I want to have acting. And just by the way, me and Kylie love to eat the cereal in the breakfast scenes, which is like,
by the way, another reason that the editors are like, do these girls know they're ruining every take with their crunching? I'm like, I can't control it. I don't know. We're trying to get soft cereal. It's like
soft cereal.
Dana, you really are so amazing. I remember being so nervous when I went in for the producer session, and I was sitting in the lobby, and the nerves started going, and then I just I had heard that if you're nervous, you just have to think about something ridiculous, and it kind of throws out whatever the fear was. So I was in the lobby thinking about an elephant reading with me in the room, and that kind of helped my nerves. So I came in, and it was everyone, John Chu, Joy, Dara. And when I got to you told me, you said, oh my God, I love you so much. And it just gave me so much confidence. I was like, oh, you love me? Okay, well, let me do my thing.
But you crushed it. And I had seen you, and I was like, oh my God, she's incredible. Like, I want to give her the confidence to do the best audition she can do. Cause like, and I'm a big believer, you know, I've been lucky to have been mentored. By the way, on this show, like, Brooklyn and Hildy are like my mentors. Like they're the reason that I never give up, because like, oh my God, it's hard. You know, being a showrunner is truly, it's such a joy because I get to do all these things that I love. But there were days where it was like, you know, I would look over at a whiteboard and there would be like 46 billion. I mean, it's just, there's so much to do. There's never a chance you're never even going to get close to getting everything done any day of the week. So it's just like, it's a lot of pressure. It's really hard. And there were just a few times where I was like just tired and I had been awake for, you know, 85 days straight. And I was like break down. And then I'd be like, I got to get back up on my scooter and I got to ride like Hildy. Like I was just like, I got to do this. And like, because you, Brooklyn, and you, Hildy, have the most extraordinary work ethic of almost anyone I have ever met. Like you guys work harder than anything I've ever seen before. And you do it with love. And you don't try to pretend you're like a guy, you know, like, you know what real power looks like. You guys have taught me more about what real power looks like, because it doesn't have to be aggressive or masculine. It can be warm. It can be rainbows and sparkles. And Hildy, you know, when I saw your New York Times thing and you had your rainbow socks pulled up to your knees and you were just like on your bike. And it was like, you weren't pretending you weren't a little girl. You were like, I can be that. And I can also be a baller and be hardcore and work my butt off. And those things can all be the same. And so I'm the most inspired by, honestly, your work ethic. And so if I've been a good mentor, it's because I'm learning from you guys. You're the best.
Oh,
Anyway.
that's so nice.
Baby. Hi, baby face.
Nice.
Hi, bud. Hey.
Monkey right now, you guys. He's a monkey. So and he's like, I'm a monkey.
It's like a miracle that one of my 3 children has not walked in the door yet. Hi, bud.
Amazing.
He's so cute.
Well,
Cute.
Hildy, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Dana, you've been like such an inspiration to me. I remember when I met you.
You guys, am I dying? Is this like?
I remember meeting you and being like,
We
oh
just
my
love
God,
you so
he's
much.
everything that I want to be when I get older. Like when you were like telling me like stories from like how your mom raised you and like all of your like feminist rants, I was just like, oh my gosh, she's actually like a superhero, and I want to be like just like you. Also, what you were saying about what you were saying earlier, I feel like people have this picture in their minds, like you're either like really, really good at something or you're feminine. Like it can be both. Like I remember when a lot of my stuff went viral when I was little, people were like, oh, like, so why do you do this instead of like playing with dolls and having tea parties? I played with Barbies until I was way too old. I've always loved tea parties. I still sleep with stuffed animals to this day. Like I'm very like, I don't know, people just have this picture and this idea in their mind of what like an empowering person looks like, and it's always so masculine for some reason.
Well, we got to change. We're changing that here on this Zoom right here today.
Right here, right now. Well, I do just want to touch on, before we end this, season 2, obviously, not, you know, humble brag, I've seen it. It's incredible. I'm so obsessed with it. But I want to know, like, you all's reactions to season 2, to finding out kind of where this story is going. I mean, Aziza, I'll start with you because, like, I have to say, like, a little bit of a spoiler, but I think it's in 201 too. Like, seeing a little bit of her home life was really incredible to me, following Trip home. Like, what was that experience like for you?
Well, my Trip's father is introduced. His name is Junior, and it's played by Scott Lawrence, and he is phenomenal. He's such a great actor. It was a good insight to Trip. I learned a lot about like how she grew up and her love for animals, and her similarities when it comes to how she interacts with her dad, and how the Lithgows interact with each other.
Yeah. Okay, Brooklyn, Abby, what were your kind of like first reactions to season 2 when you started reading those scripts? Was it what you expected?
I read the first episode and I was super nervous because I was like, I'm going to get back into this again. I'm excited, but I don't know what's going to happen. I was like, is it going to stay on the same mystery? I had the same questions as the audience. And I was just like reading it and I was like, oh, I see what they're going to do there. Oh, yes, yes. And then as the episodes started rolling in and as we started doing the episodes, I was like, oh no, oh my gosh. And then like we were reading a script, me and my mom were reading a script at the same time, one of the episodes, and we just look at each other and we start bawling, like seriously, just like crying our faces off, and we're like
Yeah, as much as you finished Beebs.
It was honestly one of the most like on the tip of your chair experiences of my life.
I feel like it got, even as much as it was very personal, season 1, I feel like season 2 got even more personal for both the family and obviously for Trip. I'm so excited for the audience to see what Aziza does this season, because I mean, I'm a huge fan of her, and I'm just grateful that we get to go home with Aziza, because I think, Trip, because she's wonderful. And I loved Scott, who played her dad. We had some really fun scenes together, but I do think that it becomes very personal for the family, and obviously for Hildy, first and foremost. And I don't really want to say much more. I want you guys to watch, but it was emotional. I watched the first episode of season 2, which you guys will get to watch, and there's this really lovely scene between the sisters, and I was, and I think every episode there's just a lot of heart. Not that there wasn't heart in season 1, but there's a lot of heart in season 2, and I was just really grateful for obviously the opportunity, but to continue telling parts of the stories we were telling in season 1, but also to kind of drift this way and find some new stuff and it all kind of comes together. So just stick with it. It all comes together.
Stick with it. Yes. You got to stick with it.
Yeah. What I was most interested about was Hildy was changing. You see, as playing Hildy, I was interested to see where like Dana was kind of moving her on the game board. And I saw that Hildy is more now learning about real life and life away from her job, and learning that her actions have consequences. I mean, back then when she dug her head and heels into a story, like you didn't really see the consequences, and the consequences that came weren't right. Like they weren't fit for a Sheriff Briggs. So this season you see her more learning that there is consequences to her actions, and that she has to actually work into a relationship as much as the other person is working in the relationship.
And I think I remember, oh, sorry, Aziza, you go.
No, I was just going to say in season 2 with Trip, there's a big transition that's happened, because I mean, she goes from deputy to sheriff, not lieutenant, so that's a big deal. And it's going to be a beautiful thing to see how she steps into her power. It's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, but hopefully she'll get there. I won't give anything away.
I was going to say, Hildy, Brooklyn, when we first started back on season 2, you said something to me. You said, I'm not sure I know who Hildy is, meaning the character, not you, Hild. She was like, I'm not sure. I don't know how to get back into this. And, just a shout out to your incredible mom. Her mother is Brooklyn's acting coach, Courtney Prince. And she is also, thankfully, season 2, she was the acting coach of all the other kids on the show. Hildy's like little gang. And so I think you can see what an extraordinary job they all did together. And, I learned so much from talking to your mom. I feel like I learned more about directing, just like talking to your mom and listening to the way that your mom talks to you. I love it so much. But I remember, you were a little bit struggling with it right at the beginning. And what I realized was that you had grown up and a lot, and it's like in the life of a kid, you grow up, like 6 months to you is like 5 years to an adult. Like it really changes you. It changes you. You were just at a different stage in your development when you came back. You were like a different person. And I kind of, once again, was like, Gilby, because like, I was like, we gotta like fix this. So, I have the good fortune of working with all these incredible writers who we all kind of were like, okay, now we have to like in a way, the show has to grow up with Brooklyn. We have to let the show age with her. We can't ever try to keep her down or keep her young. That's never going to work. It's also not very interesting to watch. So we immediately sort of said, like, okay, there's certain words that are coming out of her mouth that feel too young now. And, we actually, Sam, had that problem again, because after 3 episodes, we shut down, and we shut down for 6 months. And, the rest of the actors who are adults can come back and kind of be like, ta-da, I was just in the other room and then I came back and I look exactly the same. And Brooklyn comes back and she's like, hello, my name's Brooklyn. I have teeth I didn't have before. I'm 14 feet taller, and I did my PhD during the quarantine. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, now she's a different person again. And I'm like, ticka. So there's just a lot of like trying to make sure that the show doesn't, like, I found when I was growing up, it was really uncomfortable to watch like sitcoms and stuff where the people were like 40 years old being like, it's high school. Like, and I'm like, you're 40, but okay. So I just really want the show to be able to grow with Hildy and to age with her, and to, that's why in season 2, you'll see those interstitials that we do, those Hildy visions, which are kind of like these beautiful animated, sort of like a beautiful mind versions of what's inside Hildy's head. Those have aged up in the second season. Like the lighting is darker, the animation's more sophisticated, it looks less childlike. And that was our wonderful team aspect, who, was the first to sort of say that out loud and say, like, we got to show Hildy's development through these, and show these things growing up along with her. So that's what we're all kind of trying to do.
Amazing. Well, everyone watch season 2. Watch season 1 too. If you haven't seen it, watch it all, watch it again. That's our panel. Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Bye. Can't wait to see you all.